So I will. So being a mixed martial arts fighter, is it is it fair to say that being this sport, you go through your highs and lows?
Well, shit, I mean, I don't know if everybody goes through the highs and lows, but I sure have been through some highs and lows in my career. So, yeah, I can definitely, you know, uh, attest to that, man. There's a lot of different, levels to this game, and, when you're in for sometimes you don't even know the levels until you see them, man. Like, you can be the best guy around, it doesn't mean you're the best guy, in the world. So, you got to just keep pushing, brother.
Now, and one of the biggest reasons why I asked that is because as of late, you've been experiencing some. It's like you've been experiencing some lows in your careers with your two straight losses. Reflecting back on that, what was going on during that time? And
Man, I took those fights, I was going for the same thing. Like, I knew since the beginning of my career, man, I think in my third amateur fight, dude, that 20 fight, number one ranked in the state, I didn't give a damn. I've never been one to pick my fights, and I just saw them as huge opportunities. And honestly, like, I've seen them as learning experiences. I'm still young. I'm making money in this sport. And, anybody can talk to on my record, I want to see the guys, show me the guys that they fought. And, I'm sure that would be explaining a lot, I'm focused on, getting this next fight. It's obviously, a huge fight for me. But, I'm not going to fight that way. I've been going about my business, staying busy, staying positive, which is what you got to do, man. Like, you talk about the highs and the lows, like, no matter what, there's highs and lows in life, and you just have to, stay positive and believe in yourself because, no matter how, no matter if I was on a 5-10 fight win streak, people would still have something to say or somebody that I got to beat. So
exactly.
I try to keep things in perspective and, go out there and take this guy out. He's coming off 2 losses. Shit, I'm coming off of 2 losses both against top competition. So let's see, we got the same fucking nickname. If I can't beat this guy, shit, I'm in trouble, bro. So I had to go out there and take this guy out. And obviously the last 2 fights, they weren't ideal. I don't know if like how much, you know about my career, but I actually had my fiance in my corner for my last fights because I was in between teams with teams with COVID going on. I actually got my start 3 years back, amateur fighting for a boxing gym. So I had to find the, mixed martial arts gym so that I could, truly get to where I want to go. Now I've been settling in there. I'm trying to find the right team. And, out in South Carolina, I have Miguel Diaz coming with me, who's a Daniel Gracie. He's like a 2-stripe brown belt. But he's a pro fighter, 3-1 as a flyweight. So being able to work with him, work with Cody Hare, at Daniel Gracie. These are guys who train with Sean Brady, Pat Sabatini. They know what it takes, to get to the highest level of what these guys are doing. So to have, coaches now in my corner who are trying to kill me every day, I'm getting established somewhere. I feel like I'm really, for the first time, part of the team where I'm not trying to do so much or be the coach and the guy, I just try to work, man, and go show up and put in the work, and they got a great game plan for me. And I'm ready to execute, bro. Like, I'm 1-2 since COVID hit, 1-2 on the national stage. I got to even it up, man. I'm getting married in a couple months. Like, if I could just even that up.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, sir. If I could just even up that record, I'd be feeling a lot better, about myself. And honestly, as long as I go out there and put on a performance that I'm happy with, because I want to be there, man. Like, it's been so hard these last couple fights, because you want to take the opportunities and you want to keep moving, regardless. But, everybody's going through it right now, with the training and, finding the right training partners and, especially, here in Grand Rapids before Daniel Gracie was here, you didn't see a lot of, premier gyms with a lot of pros, Jamal Hill's representing, Big Dog Brett Martin's representing. But a lot of the other guys, Cody Freeman, he moved down, and, you got to really just find the work. And and that's something that we've really been doing. And shit, man, like this training camp has by far been the toughest of my life, because you can think you're working hard, but my coaches literally are trying to kill me. So this dude's gonna be, I know it's gonna be tough to beat May 29th.
And speaking of your team, it sounds like one of the biggest difference between your last fight and now is because you have a strong support system. Now, with that, now how has that transition been from going to the gym that you were once at, your training where your training options were kind of subpar, to now you just have like this elite level group where you're having, in terms of just,
You're a big fish in a little pond. You're a big fish in a little pond, and it's completely different. It's an adjustment period. Getting yourself to the point where you're tired, where you're going against guys, that you should beat, but you're being tested, to hold it up, because everybody sucks. There's no easy roles. There's nowhere to escape. You know what I mean? And my coaches don't let me escape. They don't let me take the easy road. It just gets harder. The practice just gets harder and harder and harder, and that's what's going to help me push the pace. May 29th, and now before, I feel like in my last fights, like even against Casey Tanner, CFSC, I started off strong. In the first round, I split him on the feet. Was showing that I transitioned more of a striker. I was a grappler as an amateur, but I've been working so much with my striking, and I was showing that. But then I got taken down, was comfortable on my butt playing jiu-jitsu. Hadn't really done a lot of positional work, and I wasn't ready to get back to my feet, and I got beat up. And I was searching for arm bars and shit, and you can't play that jiu-jitsu shit. Got to get back to your feet and do damage, and that's what I'm focused on in this fight. I know this, John Sweeney, I think is his name. He's gonna be coming for me. He's got a lot of power. He's a dangerous fighter, and that's why I'm putting myself through this every day. My days are completely full. It's very busy before a fight, but that's a good thing, man. I'm blessed.
now with the now we know you fought for LFA. So how does it feel to be fighting like for a new organization? And this is another a two-part to that question. With your presence in this new organization, are you using that as a platform where you can build up your wins so you can be able to fight on top cards like LFA or even bigger again?
Well, my opponent is 2-0 in LFA. So this dude, he's a legitimate fighter. He hit a couple of kids like me against top competition, but he's a legitimate fighter, dude. You're like, I'm going down there. I'm not trying to go down there and pass my record. I'm trying to go down there and get a fight that's going to put me in position to go fight another bad motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because one of the biggest things I've always noticed is the more a lot of these particular fights can set you up for bigger opponents. So when you beat like those top elite opponents, it puts your name out there to give you more opportunities.
Exactly, man. I'm showing too that I'm doing this shit, man. Like, I'm willing to say if I'm going in this guy's hometown, enemy territory, I'm going to fuck him up. You know what I mean? He's coming the same thing, man. And he's coming off 2 losses. I know he's hungry. I know he's in the gym. You know what I'm saying? And that's motivating. That's what I fucking fight, because it gets me up out of bed in the morning. It gets to light the fire in my ass every single fucking day. And, I'm going to be feeling that fire. South Carolina, May 29th. I'm happy to go someplace warm for the first time. When I first started fighting, it was about the travel. As a kid, I grew up, I was like a multiple time national jiu-jitsu champion. I traveled around to New York and I grappled, and I enjoyed it. And coming back to the sport later on and having this other opportunity after making some mistakes in high school, not being able to wrestle in college, and take the road that was set up. The road that was would have been a little bit easier for me. I took some other paths, and now I'm here, and I'm not taking this shit for granted, man. Like, these opportunities to bring my family out to South Carolina, to get a paycheck, to have that experience. I'm trying to just take it day by day and soak that all in. But this is a big fight for me, man. Like you said, it could set me up for whether it's a big LFA fight I think anybody who's see after I get this win that, you know, I fought off quality opponents, I have quality wins, and that I'm ready to go to a spot like, you know, Bellator and make some better money, you know, and compete with these guys. So that's what they want to see. They want to see you can compete with this competition and, you know, get the job done. So that's when I need to go out there and prove, you know, and represent. And I really want to change, you know, the culture of, you know, fighting here in Grand Rapids, because like I said, the Dana Gracie team's young, but there's some bad motherfuckers there. I want to help put my gym on the map, you know, and you know, make my coaches proud for all the work that they've been putting in to me, and
So,
really, really, you know, ready to represent, man.
yeah, it's almost, yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because it's almost as if you're, whatever you do from here on out, you're almost kind of like setting the groundwork for other hungry up and coming fighters. Because I'm sure there's a lot of great talent up in Grand Rapids.
Oh yeah, exactly, man. And I gotta realize that, you know, I'm a huge part of that, man. And I gotta play my fucking part. And I gotta go out there and I gotta get the job done. Because every day I'm pushing the pace and training, and I'm showing these guys, trying to show them, you know, what it takes. You know, I coach at Breakback Fight Club. I coach a couple fighters. You know, obviously I'm focused on my fighting and my training. You know, I want to inspire these guys and help elevate everybody's game, man. And they should be focused on that. And I feel like, you know, for Grand Rapids, I feel like one of those guys that's, you know, putting the city on his back and actually doing the same thing. I feel like, you know, there's a lot of fighters in Michigan that since COVID hit, you haven't really heard nothing about them because they're waiting for local shows to get the right matchups to build their careers up. You know, since I got into this thing, man, my pro debut was against a guy who had over 8 pro fights. Like, I wanted to jump levels. I wanted to go out there and see. You know, I believe and I'm going to be amongst the best in the world. So why would I not go out there and put myself in those situations to learn? And those last 2 fights that I had taught me so much just about myself and what I was neglecting in my training. You know, more the mental game than anything. You know, I've always been very talented, but, you know, the mental game is something at this level that's even more important, you know, and making sure.
More than anything.
Exactly. And it took me a little while to figure that out. But, like, even through my management, I'm working with, you know, MindLock and a sports psychiatrist. I don't know if a lot of guys are talking about that, but it's something that I'm proud of because he's a huge part of my team. You know, Dylan Nadler has been giving me so much information that's helped me grow as an athlete. And, you know, I want people to see that. Like, I'm exhausting everything. I'm putting everything into this, and I think they're going to see that on May 29th when they see this performance that I haven't let off the gas. A lot of guys, they take losses, they get distracted. You go look back, man, my last fight was only 4 or 5 months ago. You know, it was a good time. I needed a time to, you know, make adjustments. I needed time to, you know, correct myself. But I'm still, you know, been pushing the pace every single day. I haven't let off the fucking gas. And, like, when you got a guy like that, you know, wants to be champion, you're going to see huge improvements. And that's what I'm focused on doing, is just showing, you know, just how much, you know, I've improved and how much of myself I put into this. Because, yeah, there's no shortcuts in this game, you know, and, like,
not at all.
I'm 25 years old, and, you know, maybe I wasn't as good as I thought I was. Maybe I wasn't, you know, ready to take out, you know, a Casey Tanner from Fight Ready, you know, 30 years old, you know, who's got the experience. Maybe I wasn't on that level yet, but you go back and watch that fight, I learned a lot in that fight, and it definitely put, you know, an even bigger chip on my shoulder. And it's all fuel, man. I use it, like, even a bad day. That's one thing I'm learning too. Like, a bad day, you know, you can make that something good, man. And it's all fuel for me.
Especially because even in, like, when you have, like, your bad days in terms of your training session or even outside the gym, that can just set up for that motivation. And it sounds like you have that motivation because when most fighters suffer 2 losses, what I found out is they kind of get discouraged and they get less motivated to the point where they don't even like training anymore. And people like such as yourself, it's like you're using that fuel to keep pushing and pushing and pushing.
And discover new things about the sport, man. This is what I love. The sport in my dad's room since I was 6 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm discovering new things every day. And that's what's so beautiful about this journey for me, not the wins, the losses, the glory. It's just about, exploring the sport more and becoming the best martial artist that I can be and develop the best approach. I'm reading The Art of War and just trying to, study that, how to, the tactical part of the game. That's, something that I feel as though, even without a strong team around you, it's neglected. You don't have a solid game plan and you're just, going in there to fight, without a certain purpose, without a certain, goal in mind. It's just like, it's a hope. Now I know. Like my dad asked me the other day, are you nervous for this fight? I'm not nervous for this fight,
And that was another question I want to ask you. Do you feel that this stage of your career, with all that motivation, all those people supporting you, being the flag bearer of Grand Rapids, do you feel that you finally found that purpose? They can not only guarantee you victory in this fight, but
I know
beyond.
I have.
Beyond.
I know that I have. I know that I have. I don't hope anymore. I don't hope for victory. I know it's in my heart. And I want to be there. That's the difference between this fight. Is, I want nothing more than to be in that cage. And this is my story, man. Hollywood versus Hollywood, coming off 2 losses. We're both coming off 2 losses. Same weight class. Same nickname. I gotta go out and show that I'm the guy, man. And I'm dedicated. This sport is my whole fucking life, man. I need to win this fight.
That is great, and that's great. That's great motivation. Just drive and to be the best, because a lot of people don't have that. And it sounds like just from this whole conversation that you are ready to dominate and ready to secure victory on May 29th.
I need to make a statement. My whole career has been leading to this moment. When everybody's counting me out, they're like, "This Calvin," because you lose a fight like this, it's like, where do you go from there, man? At 2-4, and losing to another guy named fucking Hollywood coming off 2 losses. There ain't many places to go from there, man. So I feel like everything has been leading to this point. It's a dangerous opponent. It's got a fire lit. And when I go out there and I beat this guy, it's going to make a big statement that one day I'm going to be amongst the best in the world. And right now I can compete with pretty much anybody. So that's just what I want to show, is I can go out there and I'm on that level and I'm really doing this thing. And that's just going to inspire people. That's just going to inspire Grand Rapids, is that there's somebody amongst them that's reaching to be, like you said, not just the best around, not just the best in Michigan, but the best in the motherfucking world. And that's the best one I'm after. I got concrete goals now. Like, even as an amateur, when I went undefeated, I had concrete goals. And now working on the mental approach, I have concrete goals again, and I remind myself of those goals every day. And like you said, during those bad trainings, there was a great analogy that I heard, and they related it, fighting or training to surfing. On those days, if you're out surfing and you're hitting, sometimes you have those days where you're hitting every single wave and it feels easy and you're not tired, you're not sore, and everything's just going your way, the sun's hitting your back, and then you got those days where you got to paddle 2 miles to catch that wave and give it everything just to seize that moment, or you ain't going to be able to catch a wave that day. You know what I'm saying? And, those bad days, those tough days that I'm putting myself through, that's where I'm learning the most. And that's what's giving me so much confidence for this fight, is the preparation. The team that I'm with now is a whole new, like, it's just a whole nother level of fucking competing, and that's what I need to do to beat this guy, man, because he's a good fighter.
Well, just based off this conversation, you definitely have me super excited to see this fight. Is there anything else that you wanted to say before we wrap up this interview? Anybody that you want to thank, or just last closing thoughts?
I just want to thank Dana Gracie, Grand Rapids, my fiance, Tara. Without them, it wouldn't be possible. As well as with my sponsors, Country Roots, John Benoit Handyman Services, the Midwest Tropics, and Showcase Club.
Great. Perfect. Well, Calvin, thank you so much for taking your time to do this interview with.
Thank
And
you,
we
brother.
are.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man, for doing this interview. I really appreciate that, man. I appreciate your grind, bro, because you're helping guys like me, you know, get their shit out there, man. And that's huge for this sport. It's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, man. This thing has no fucking limit.
No problem, man. And you know, and it's people like you that keep me motivated to continue to do this, because I learn from you guys every time.
Man, I'm telling you right now, I'm a diamond in the rough. Wait till you see this fight.
I'll be watching for it.
All right, brother. Thank you.
All right.
Have a good day.
You too.
Blessings,
Thank you.
brother.